Grandpa found something terrifying in the Siberian Taiga. What happened next is shocking. Ivan Semyonovich noticed the tracks at dawn while checking his traps. In his 72 years of life in the taiga, he had never seen prints like these, too narrow to be a bear's, too large to be a lynx's. They were something in between feline and canine but the size of a wolf. The old man crouched down, carefully studying every detail. On the soft earth, 4 toes with retractable claws were clearly visible, but the paw shape was unfamiliar. "What kind of creature is this?" he whispered, standing up and rubbing his aching back. The trail led into a dense thicket of willow near a stream. Ivan slowly followed it, trying not to make noise. After 40 years as a forester, he had learned to move almost silently. Each step was deliberate, every movement cautious. The morning fog hadn't yet lifted, and visibility was poor. Suddenly, a strange sound came from the bushes, not a growl or a meow, but more like a muffled groan of pain. Ivan froze, listening. The sound repeated, clearer this time. It was definitely an animal in distress. Parting the willow branches, the old man saw it, an animal lying in a small hollow, breathing heavily. It was the size of a large dog, but its appearance was strikingly unusual. Thick gray-brown fur with dark stripes, a round head with small ears, short legs, and a massive body. It looked most like a giant Pallas's cat, only several times larger. "Dear God!" Ivan Semyonovich exhaled softly. The animal turned its head toward him. Its eyes were astonishingly intelligent, almost human. They showed pain and fear but no aggression. One front paw was clearly injured, possibly caught in a poacher's trap. Ivan stepped back a few paces, never taking his eyes off the creature. He needed to make a decision. "Before we continue, let us know what city you're watching from, we're always curious. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. It motivates us to make more engaging videos. Now, back to the story. Leave it to die?" But Ivan could never ignore suffering, human or animal. His late wife Maria once said he had too kind a heart for this cruel world. "Well, buddy," he said to the animal, "should I help you?" The creature looked at him as if understanding every word. Ivan cautiously stepped closer, ready to jump back at the slightest sign of aggression, but the animal only whimpered and tried to lift its injured paw. At home, Ivan always kept a small veterinary kit, left over from feeding stray cats and dogs in the village. But first, he had to transport the wounded creature home, which was no easy task. "Stay put, don't move," he said, rushing back to fetch a stretcher he once made for carrying firewood. Half an hour later, he returned with a homemade stretcher and an old blanket. The creature was still lying there, but its eyes were becoming dull. Time was running out. "Hang in there," Ivan said gently, covering the animal with the blanket. "We'll get home and take care of you." To his surprise, the animal didn't resist, it seemed to understand he meant to help. It was strange and at the same time astonishing. In all his years in the forest, Ivan had never encountered such a trusting wild creature. The journey home took over an hour, he had to stop often. The stretcher was heavy, and the 72-year-old struggled, but he pressed on, occasionally encouraging his unusual patient. "We're almost there," he murmured. When they finally reached the cabin, Ivan set the animal up in the barn on the hay. It was warm and dry there. The creature lay still, occasionally opening its eyes to watch the old man. Washing the wound with warm water, Ivan saw the injury was serious but not fatal. Most likely, the animal had been caught in a trap but managed to escape. The deep cuts from metal jaws were already starting to fester. hang on, buddy. We'll clean this up, Ivan said as he grabbed the hydrogen peroxide. The animal flinched when the antiseptic touched the wound but didn't try to bite or run. That convinced Ivan the animal understood he was being helped. After cleaning the wound and applying a bandage, the old man brought a bowl of water and some meat from the freezer. The animal drank greedily but approached the food cautiously, sniffing, tasting a small piece, then eating only after ensuring it was fresh. Smart and cautious, that's good around here, Ivan said admiringly. That evening, he checked on his patient several times. The creature slept but opened its eyes at the sound of footsteps. Gradually, it grew used to the man's presence, no longer tensing at every movement. The next morning, Ivan found the animal already able to stand, though it still protected its injured paw. A good sign, no broken bones. "How are you, friend?" he greeted, bringing fresh food. The animal looked at him with eyes full of something that resembled gratitude. Ivan placed the food down and sat nearby on an overturned crate. "You know," he said softly, "let's not tell anyone about you just yet. Folks around here get jumpy, they might get scared. But you seem peaceful." The animal slowly approached the bowl but didn't eat right away. Instead, it gently nudged Ivan's hand with its muzzle. The gesture was so unexpected and touching that the old man teared up. "Ah, my friend," he whispered, stroking the thick fur, "it's been a long time since I talked to someone living like this." It had been 5 years since Maria passed, and the loneliness still weighed heavily. His children had long since moved to cities, grandchildren visited rarely, and most village neighbors were gone. Of the 20 houses, only 5 were still inhabited. "You'll stay with me until you recover," Ivan decided. "And maybe longer, if you want." The animal seemed to understand. It went to the bowl and began to eat, glancing up at the man occasionally with a gaze full of trust and a strange wisdom. The next few days passed peacefully. The wound healed quickly, and the animal regained strength. Ivan named him Manulych for his resemblance to a palace's cat, though the size was much different. Each morning, the old man brought food and water, changed the bandage, and talked to his unusual guest. Manulych turned out to be astonishingly intelligent. He quickly learned where to eat, where to relieve himself, and how to behave around people. He even began helping, carrying wood in his mouth, watching Ivan work in the garden. "Well, look at that, what a helper you turned out to be." Ivan chuckled as Manulych dragged a fallen branch to the woodpile. But the most amazing thing happened on the 5th day. Ivan was weeding the potato bed when he felt eyes on him. Turning, he saw Manulych watching from the edge of the plot. "Curious, are you?" Ivan smiled. To his amazement, Manulych walked over to the next row and started pulling weeds with his teeth, carefully copying the man's movements without damaging the plants. "You actually know what you're doing?" Ivan gasped. Manulych lifted his head, looked at him, and kept working. It was unbelievable. Ivan had never seen such a smart animal in his life. That evening, sitting on the bench outside, he told Manulych, who sat beside him, "You know, my friend, I've spent my life in these woods. Seen all kinds of animals. But never one like you." Manulych purred contentedly, pressing against Ivan's side. In these moments, Ivan forgot his loneliness, the creeping old age, and the fact that his days were numbered. "I'm glad you found me," he said softly. "Otherwise, I'd be all alone." But peaceful days ended when Anna Petrovna, the only close neighbor, had her niece from the city visit. The curious young woman noticed that Ivan was acting strangely, often going to the barn with food and talking to himself. "Aunt Anya," she said over evening tea, "is Uncle Vanya all right? He's acting kind of odd." Anna frowned. She had noticed too, he kept carrying food to the barn and talking to someone. "Maybe he's lost it from loneliness," she said. "Or maybe he took in a stray dog," the niece suggested. "Could be, but why so secretive?" The next day, Anna decided to visit Ivan under the pretext of borrowing salt. Ivan met her at the gate, which was unusual. He typically invited her in. "Hello, Vanechka," she greeted him. "Could I borrow some salt? I ran out and can't go to the store until tomorrow." "Of course, Anna Petrovna," he said, but looked nervous. As he went to fetch it, she heard strange sounds from the barn, not barking or meowing, but something in between. She moved closer, but Ivan was already returning. "What's in your barn?" she asked directly. "Nothing special," he stammered. "Just storing some things." Anna had known Ivan for years and sensed he was hiding something. But she didn't press, it would come out sooner or later. Meanwhile, in the regional center, journalist Katya Volkova was preparing for an expedition to the remote areas of the region. She was gathering material on rare Siberian fauna for her thesis. The young biologist hoped to find something interesting in the unexplored territories. "Mom, I'm going on a work trip," she told her mother by phone. 2 weeks in the taiga." "Be careful, Katya," her mother worried. "Anything can happen in the forest." "Don't worry, I won't be alone, going with a research team." But plans changed last minute. The rest of the team fell ill, and the grant had to be used within the deadline. Katya decided to go alone, knowing it was risky. A day after Anna's visit, Ivan's grandson Nikita arrived, tall, skinny, a programmer from Moscow. He looked completely out of place in the village, expensive jacket, trendy jeans, iPhone in hand. A clear city boy. "Hi, Grandpa," he shouted, stepping out of the taxi. "Thought I'd visit you." Ivan was glad but also worried. Nikita hadn't said he was coming, and Manulych was still in the barn. He had to think of something. He had taken time off and decided to come to the dacha to get some fresh air and escape the hustle and bustle of city life. They went into the house, where Nikita curiously looked around. Little had changed since his childhood, the same handmade shelves, old furniture, and photos of his grandmother on the walls. "Grandpa, don't you get lonely here by yourself?" the grandson asked as he sat at the table. "No, I'm used to it. There's always something to do." "And the neighbors?" "Anna Petrovna lives nearby, she drops by sometimes. The rest are mostly in the city now, and they only visit occasionally." While they were talking, a familiar sound reached Ivan's ears from the barn. Manulych had apparently woken up and was stretching. Nikita looked alert. "Grandpa, what was that noise?" "Oh, just the hay shifting," Ivan mumbled. "Boards creaking and all." But Nikita wasn't the type to accept vague explanations. His analytical, programmer's mind urged him to dig deeper. "Grandpa, can I check the barn? Maybe I can help with something." "No need, my boy. It's a mess in there. Come, let's eat. I made some borscht." But curiosity got the better of him. While Ivan was busy in the kitchen, Nikita quietly slipped outside and headed to the barn. What he saw through a crack in the door left him in shock. A massive creature was lying on the hay, calmly watching him. Nikita stumbled back, tripped, and fell with a loud clang into a metal bucket. "Nikita!" his grandfather shouted, rushing out of the house. "What happened?" "Grandpa, there's some kind of beast in there," the grandson stammered, pointing at the barn. Ivan realized the secret was out. With a heavy sigh, he helped his grandson to his feet. "Come on, I'll show him to you properly," he said. "But don't shout or make any sudden moves. He's good. He's not dangerous." They entered the barn where Manulych lay quietly in his place. Upon seeing the stranger, he tensed but showed no aggression. "My God, Grandpa, what is that?" Nikita whispered. "I found him injured, treated him. Now he lives here. He's smart, kind, he even helps me out. But this is impossible. Animals like that don't exist." "Well, here he is," the old man smiled. "Manulych, meet my grandson." To Nikita's amazement, the creature slowly rose and carefully approached. Despite his massive frame, his movements were graceful. He stopped a meter from the young man and studied him intently. "He's sizing me up," Nikita observed with surprise. "He's smart. Senses people. Sees your family, so he's checking you out." Gradually, Nikita calmed down and even dared to extend his hand. Manulych sniffed it and allowed himself to be petted. "Grandpa, this is incredible. We need to film him, post it online. No one's ever seen anything like this." "Absolutely not," Ivan said firmly. "Not a word to anyone. If people find out, they'll come in droves, put him in a cage or worse. But Grandpa, no buts. Promise me you'll tell no one." Nikita saw how serious his grandfather was. He understood the concern, but inside he was bursting with excitement. Such a discovery could make them famous. "Okay, Grandpa, I promise. But can we at least study him properly? Maybe he's a new species." "Maybe," Ivan nodded. "But we'll study him quietly, without a fuss." That same day, Katya Volkova arrived in the village. The young biologist stayed at the only functioning inn, Anna Petrovna's house, where the woman occasionally rented out rooms to rare guests. "What brings you to our village?" the hostess asked while making tea. "I'm a biologist studying local fauna, looking for rare species." "A scientist, huh? Interesting. Is there anything special around here?" "In remote places like this, you often find species that have disappeared elsewhere." Anna Petrovna thought for a moment and recalled her neighbor's odd behavior. "Do you think animals can influence human behavior?" "What do you mean?" "Well, my neighbor's been acting strange lately. Maybe he picked up a dog or something, but he's hiding it." Katya was intrigued. She had encountered cases where people hid rare animals out of fear they'd be taken away. "May I meet this neighbor?" "Of course, he lives nearby. Ivan Semyonovich. Good man. Worked as a forester his whole life." The next morning, Katya went to meet Ivan. She introduced herself as a biologist studying the local environment. The old man was cautious. A young city woman in expensive gear made him wary. "And what exactly are you interested in?" he asked carefully. "Rare mammal species. They say in your region, some animals can still be found that are extinct elsewhere." "Maybe so. The forest is big, full of surprises." Katya sensed he was hiding something. His answers were too evasive for someone with his background. "Ivan Semyonovich, have you noticed anything unusual lately? Strange animal tracks, perhaps?" "Tracks, plenty. I don't know them all." At that moment, Nikita came into the yard. Seeing the stranger, he came over. "Hello, I'm Ivan Semyonovich's grandson." "Nikita." "I'm Katya," the girl introduced herself. "I'm a biologist studying local fauna." "Interesting," said Nikita. Ivan sensed his grandson might spill the secret. "Nikita," he said sternly, "let's go inside." "Sorry, miss, we've got things to do." But Katya was persistent. She knew there was something here and wasn't going to back down. "Ivan Semyonovich, if you've found a rare animal, I can help. I have contacts in wildlife reserves. We can protect it." The old man hesitated. On one hand, a scientific approach could help. On the other, he feared losing Manulych. "Grandpa," Nikita said quietly, "maybe we should trust her. She's a specialist." "I don't know, my boy. Not all specialists are the same." Katya understood she needed to earn their trust gradually. She decided to stay in the village longer, explore the area, show her genuine interest. Over the next few days, she roamed the forest, photographed tracks, studied vegetation, and visited Anna Petrovna every evening to share her findings. The locals gradually warmed up to her. Meanwhile, strange things began happening in the village. Chickens started disappearing, first from one neighbor, then another. Within a week, nearly 10 birds were gone. "It's a fox," insisted local hunter Sergei Gromov. "Or a marten." "What fox?" countered Anna Petrovna. "There are no tracks, and the chickens vanish from locked coops." Ivan listened with growing anxiety. He knew Manulych didn't touch poultry, he fed him store-bought meat. But the villagers might think otherwise. "Grandpa," Nikita said, "what if it's not a fox? What if it really is some unknown predator?" "I don't know, my boy. But it's not our Manulych. I know him. He only eats what I give him." Still, the villagers' suspicions turned toward Ivan's strange behavior. Anna Petrovna told others about her observations, and people began speculating. "What if he really tamed some kind of animal?" one said. "And it's stealing chickens," added another. "We should check his barn," suggested a third. Tensions were rising. Then Sergei Gromov claimed he saw strange tracks in the woods. "Not a bear's. Not a wolf's," he said at the store. Something new and big. Katya happened to be in the store and grew alert. She approached the hunter. "Can you show me the tracks?" "And who are you?" "I'm a biologist. Studying local fauna." "A scientist?" "Well, if you're interested." The next day, Sergei took Katya to the place where he saw the prints. They were partly washed away by rain, but some were still visible. "Definitely unusual," Katya agreed, photographing them. "They look feline, but far too big for a lynx." "Exactly. Something's not right." "Where exactly did you find them?" "Over there, by the stream near the village." Katya noted the location. The tracks led toward the village, specifically to Ivan Semyonovich's house. The coincidence was too strong. Back at Anna Petrovna's, Katya cautiously asked about the neighbor. "How long has Ivan been acting strangely?" "About 2 weeks, since he went into the forest and found something." "Do you know what he found?" "No idea. But ever since then, he's been hauling food to the barn and talking to someone." The puzzle was coming together. Katya realized Ivan was indeed hiding someone or something. And that someone was likely the owner of the mysterious tracks. The next day, she decided to act directly. She went to Ivan and said bluntly, "Ivan Semyonovich, I know you're hiding something. And I know it's no ordinary animal." The old man went pale. "I don't know what you're talking about. The tracks by the stream lead to your house. You've been bringing food to the barn. Your behavior changed the day you came back from the forest." Nikita, hearing the conversation, stepped outside. Grandpa, maybe it's time to trust her. She's a specialist, she can help. Ivan was silent for a long time, then sighed heavily. All right. But on one condition, no one says a word without my permission. I promise, Katya said seriously. They went to the barn. What Katya saw shook her to her core. The animal was truly unique, something between a large cat and a bear cub, but with an intelligence that gleamed in its eyes. My God, she whispered. This is unbelievable. Meet Manulych, Ivan said. Found him injured, healed him. Now we live together. Manulych studied the new visitor intently. Katya slowly approached, careful not to make sudden moves. Can I touch him? Gently. He's kind, but still wild. Katya held out her hand. Manulych sniffed it, then allowed her to pet his head. Fantastic, she whispered in awe. I've never seen anything like this. It could be a hybrid, but of what species? Can you identify it? We'll need to take samples and study it more closely. But visually, he resembles an oversized Pallas's cat, mixed with something else. We're not taking samples, Ivan said firmly. You've seen enough. But Ivan Semyonovich, this is a scientific discovery. This animal needs to be studied. Study it all you want, but don't touch him. Katya understood the old man's stance. She'd seen how scientific study often ended. Katya agreed to study the animal using only non-invasive methods, observation, photography, and behavioral analysis. Over the next few days, she spent all her free time in the barn, watching Manulych, recording his habits, and photographing him. The animal quickly got used to her and even began to show signs of friendliness. He's incredibly intelligent, she told Nikita. He understands commands, distinguishes tones, and even tries to mimic some sounds. But where could he have come from? Nikita asked. Most likely, he's a natural hybrid, she replied. Sometimes closely related species interbreed in the wild, but it's rare for the result to be this viable and large. So what do we do with him now? For now, nothing. He lives with your grandfather, and they're happy together. But it can't last forever. Why not? Because people will find out sooner or later, and when they do, there will be problems. Katya was right. Rumors about Ivan's strange animal began to spread widely throughout the village. Despite her promise to stay silent, Anna Petrovna couldn't resist and told one neighbor, who told another, and so on. Ivan's tamed some kind of monster, the villagers whispered. And that monster's stealing chickens. What if it attacks people? Sergei Gromov decided to take matters into his own hands. He gathered a few local men and suggested checking Ivan's place. Let's go see what kind of beast he has. If it's dangerous, we'll kill it. Maybe we shouldn't, one of the men hesitated. We should. There aren't many of us left, we can't take risks. Ivan sensed the looming danger. People in the village were giving him strange looks and avoiding him. Anna Petrovna warned him about Sergei's plans. Ivan, leave with the animal. Gromov is serious. I don't know where you'll go or how you'll manage with Manulych, but you can't stay here. Meanwhile, an event occurred in the district center that changed everything. A local journalist had heard rumors about the strange animal and came to the village with a camera and recorder. They say you've got an unusual beast here, he told Anna Petrovna. Oh, nonsense, she waved him off, but it was too late, she'd already given something away. So where can I see it? I don't know anything, she insisted. But the journalist was persistent. He walked around the village, questioning residents. Eventually, the picture became clear. "So, it's with Ivan Koshkin," he jotted in his notebook. When he showed up at Ivan's house, the old man knew the secret was out. "Can I see the animal?" the journalist asked directly. "What animal?" Ivan deflected. "Come on, everyone in the village knows. Better you tell me than let others make something up." Ivan realized there was no use hiding anymore, but he still didn't want to show Manulych. "Leave," he said. "You have no business here." "So there really is an animal," the journalist confirmed. Just then, Katya and Nikita arrived. They heard the conversation and understood how critical the situation was. "Listen," Katya addressed the journalist. "I'm a biologist. If there's a rare animal here, it needs protection, not to become a media circus." "And who are you?" "Ekaterina Volkova, Ph.D. in biology, from the Institute of Animal Systematics and Ecology." The journalist perked up. "A scientist. This could make a great story. I'm telling you, publicity will harm the animal. If it's a rare species, it needs protection, not fame. But people have the right to know. People have the right to accurate information, not sensationalism." The argument could have gone on, but a shout from the village interrupted them. A group of men led by Sergei Gromov was marching toward Ivan's house, some with rifles in hand. "Koshkin!" Sergei shouted. "Bring out your beast. Let us see what you're hiding." Ivan stepped onto the porch, Nikita beside him. Katya stood between them and the crowd. "Sergei Petrovich, calm down," she said. "I'm a biologist studying local wildlife. There's no danger." "We'll decide what's dangerous," Gromov snapped. "Koshkin, this is your last chance, show us the animal." "I won't," Ivan said firmly. "Then we'll see for ourselves." The men moved toward the barn. Ivan tried to stop them but was shoved aside. Sergei yanked the barn door open and peeked inside. What he saw made him recoil. "My God," he muttered. The others looked in and saw Manulych in the far corner, pressed against the wall. He wasn't aggressive, but clearly frightened. "What kind of monster is that?" one of the men whispered. "I don't know, but it's big," another replied. Sergei raised his rifle, but Katya grabbed his arm. "Don't you dare. This is a unique creature. Unique or not, it's dangerous." "He's not dangerous. Look, he's scared." Indeed, Manulych looked terrified, cowering against the wall and whimpering, searching the crowd for Ivan. "Manulych," Ivan called gently. "Come here, don't be afraid." To everyone's amazement, the creature obeyed. He walked slowly to Ivan and pressed against his legs like a child seeking comfort. "See," Katya said. "He's completely tame." "Maybe so," muttered Sergei. "But who knows what's in that thing's head?" Just then, the rumble of an engine was heard. Another car arrived, and several people with professional cameras got out. "Damn," the first journalist cursed. "Competitors." Word had reached the regional media. A TV crew had come. "Where's the animal?" the cameraman asked. "There," Sergei pointed. Cameras immediately turned toward Manulych. Seeing the lenses pointed at him, the creature clung tighter to Ivan. "Don't film him," the old man shouted. "You're scaring him." But the journalists ignored him, recording everything, Manulych, Ivan, the crowd, and talking to the camera. "What a sensation," the reporter said. "In a remote Siberian village, a local man has tamed an animal unknown to science." "It's not unknown," Katya tried to interject. "It's a hybrid of known species." "And who are you?" A biologist. Perfect, the reporter grinned. Tell our viewers about this amazing creature. Katya realized she was trapped. If she said nothing, they'd invent stories. If she told the truth, she'd break her promise to Ivan. No comment, she said. But you're a scientist. Exactly why I'm not commenting. Meanwhile, the situation worsened. More journalists arrived, then local officials. By evening, the tiny village was swarming with cars and people. Ivan sat on the porch beside Manulych, unsure what to do. The creature clearly suffered from the noise and strangers. Grandpa, Nikita said, approaching. We have to do something. This can't go on. I don't know, my boy. I just don't know. Katya also joined them. Ivan Semyonovich, I have a suggestion. There's a private wildlife sanctuary 200 kilometers from here. Manulych would be safe there, and you could visit him. I don't want to give him up. But he's not doing well here. Look how nervous he is. It was true. Manulych seemed depressed, flinching at every loud sound, refusing food. By nightfall, most journalists had left but promised to return. Sergei and his supporters also went home, but their threats remained. Tomorrow we'll decide what to do with that beast, Sergei warned. Ivan didn't sleep that night. He sat in the barn beside Manulych, who whined softly, pressing close to him. What are we going to do, my friend? The old man whispered. Where do we go now? In the morning, things got even worse. More journalists came, along with officials and representatives from a zoo. Everyone wanted to see Manulych, to film and photograph him. We can offer excellent care, said the zoo director. A spacious enclosure, professional staff. I won't give him up, Ivan repeated stubbornly. But he's not safe here, the director insisted. The locals were growing increasingly hostile. Sergei Gromov and his supporters demanded the animal be removed, by any means. Either take him away, or we'll handle it ourselves, Sergei declared. By noon, the tension peaked. A crowd surrounded Ivan's house, shouting, arguing, demanding answers. Manulych hid in the barn, shaking with fear. Then, something unexpected happened. A forest fire broke out. At first, no one noticed the thin line of smoke on the horizon. It was unusually hot for June, and the dry grass ignited easily. A breeze fanned the small flames, which rapidly spread. Manulych was the first to sense danger. He perked up, sniffed the air, and whimpered. He tugged at Ivan's sleeve. The old man didn't understand at first, but when he saw his friend's anxious behavior, he grew alert. What is it, buddy? He asked, stroking the animal's thick fur. Something's wrong. Manulych led him to the edge of the yard and pointed his nose toward the forest. Ivan saw the thin stream of smoke and felt his heart skip. He knew how fast fire could spread in such dry weather. Katya! Nikita! He shouted. Come quickly. The young people ran out, saw the direction he was looking, and immediately understood. Smoke thickened. The air smelled of burning wood. We need to alert everyone, Katya said, grabbing her phone. Call the fire department. The nearest station is an hour and a half away, Ivan said grimly. By the time they get here, it could be too late. Nikita was already dialing emergency services, but the signal was weak and kept cutting out. Grandpa, which way is the wind blowing? He asked, putting the phone down. Ivan wet his finger, held it up, and his face turned pale. Right at us, he said softly. Right at the village. Within minutes, the situation spiraled. The fire, driven by wind, raced toward the homes. Smoke turned black and dense, and burning leaves flew through the air. Katya ran to Anna Petrovna, while Nikita warned other neighbors. They had to gather the villagers and prepare to evacuate. Only 7 families lived there now, many with elderly members or young children. Anna Petrovna! Katya shouted, banging on her door. There's a fire. We have to leave. The elderly woman came out in her robe, saw the approaching flames, and wrung her hands. Oh Lord, what do we do? Grab only the essentials, documents, medicine, quickly. Meanwhile, Sergei Gromov, who hours ago demanded Manulych's removal, was now running door to door, helping neighbors evacuate. In the face of this shared danger, personal conflicts were momentarily forgotten. There are only 3 cars. Sergei shouted to Ivan across the yard. We can't evacuate everyone. What about on foot? Is it far to a safe place? Katya asked. About 3 kilometers to the old quarry. The ground's bare there, the fire won't spread. 3 kilometers with children and the elderly, Nikita murmured thoughtfully. All this time, Manulych stood silently beside Ivan, attentively watching everything. The creature clearly understood the seriousness of the situation. He didn't play or get distracted, he was focused, studying the surroundings. Suddenly, he walked to the edge of the village and stood still, as if pointing the way. Then he returned to Ivan and tugged at his sleeve. What is he doing? Katya asked. Looks like he's showing the way, the old man said in surprise. Manulych, do you know how to get to the quarry? The animal whimpered and ran again toward the edge of the village, this time stopping near a barely visible path leading into the forest, away from the fire. He really knows the way, Nikita said in awe. Look, he's chosen the direction opposite the wind. People quickly began gathering. Some carried bags, others held children in their arms. Anna Petrovna cried, staring at her home that might be swallowed by flames. It's okay, Ivan consoled her. Homes can be rebuilt. The important thing is that people are safe. Sergei Gromov drove up in his old UAZ truck. The most frail residents climbed into the back, the rest had to walk. Koshkin, he said to Ivan, your animal really knows the way? Looks like it. Then let him lead. I don't know these parts as well. The column set off. Manulych walked at the front, confidently leading the way. Ivan followed with his walking stick, then the rest of the villagers. Katya and Nikita brought up the rear, helping those who fell behind. The fire roared behind them, creeping closer with frightening speed. The wind grew stronger, carrying sparks and smoke. Breathing became harder. How far is it? A young mother asked, holding her 3-year-old son. About 2 kilometers left, Ivan answered, though he wasn't sure. Manulych suddenly stopped, sniffed the air, and turned sharply off the path, leading them straight through the forest. It was risky, traversing rough terrain with children and elders, but the animal clearly sensed something humans couldn't. Grandpa, are you sure he knows where he's going? Nikita asked, worried. Trust him, grandson. Animals fear fire more than we do. They know how to escape it. After half an hour of exhausting trekking, they reached a small stream. There wasn't much water, but enough to wet clothes and handkerchiefs. People drank and washed their faces with relief. We'll rest here, Ivan decided. Let the kids drink. But Manulych paced anxiously, urging them onward. He tugged Ivan's sleeve again and dashed to the edge of the clearing. He says we can't stay long, the old man translated. And he was right, within minutes, thick smoke appeared above the trees. The fire had shifted direction with the wind. "Move!" Sergei Gromov shouted. "It's turning." Everyone got up and the column moved again. Now everyone understood Manulych was saving their lives. The animal they were ready to kill that morning was now leading them to safety. The route to the quarry turned out tougher than expected. They had to navigate around debris, cross ravines, push through dense brush. But Manulych always found the best path. "Amazing," Katya said to Nikita as they helped an elderly neighbor over a fallen tree. "He thinks not like an animal, but like a human, assessing the situation, calculating options." "Maybe there's more human in him than we think," Nikita said. "Or more animal in us than we're willing to admit." At last, the quarry came into view, a wide pit where sand had once been mined. Sparse vegetation meant the fire wouldn't reach them there. People climbed down and settled in. Manulych circled the area, ensured it was safe, then finally lay beside Ivan. He panted heavily, the journey had been hard even for him. "Thank you, my friend," the old man whispered, stroking his unusual companion. "You saved us all." People spread out across the quarry. Some lit small fires to cook, others laid makeshift beds for the children. Anna Petrovna still sobbed, but not as bitterly. "What if our homes burned down?" she asked. "Homes can be rebuilt," Sergei replied. "But people, you can't bring them back." By evening, help arrived, fire trucks, emergency services, local officials. They managed to contain the fire, though part of the forest was lost. "How did you evacuate so quickly?" the rescue chief asked. "The animal led us," Ivan said, pointing to Manulych. "What animal?" "That one, lying next to me." The rescuer stared in astonishment. He'd never seen anything like it. "What kind of species is this?" "Not a species, a miracle," Katya cut in. "A unique creature that saved an entire village." Once the danger passed, people began returning home. Luckily, the fire hadn't reached the houses. Manulych had chosen the perfect moment for evacuation. But something had changed forever. Sergei Gromov, who had demanded the animal be removed that morning, now came to Ivan and offered his hand. "Forgive me, Ivan. I was wrong. Your friend is a hero." "It's all right, Sergei. Anyone would be scared in that situation." "Not everyone. But he saved us. All of us." Other villagers also approached Ivan and Manulych, thanking them, apologizing for their earlier mistrust. Children who used to fear the animal now gently petted him. "Grandpa Ivan," a little girl asked, "is your kitty always this smart?" "Always," the old man smiled. "He's special." Naturally, the media didn't miss such a story. The next day, a segment aired about the strange creature that saved a village from fire. But Katya made sure the location was kept secret. "He needs peace," she explained to the reporters. "Too much attention could harm him." Nikita also changed his plans. Instead of returning to Moscow, he stayed for the summer. "Grandpa, I'll help fix up the house. And spend time with Manulych. You won't see anything like him anywhere else. Stay, grandson. Life's more joyful with you both here." Katya extended her assignment too. She continued studying Manulych, documenting his behavior carefully, respectfully. "It's amazing," she told Ivan, "how he understands human emotions. When you're sad, he lies beside you. When you're happy, he plays. He feels your soul." "Not every human can do that," the old man replied simply. Over time, village life adjusted. Manulych became more than Ivan's pet, he was a symbol for the entire community. Children drew him, adults spoke of him proudly to city relatives. But most importantly, people became kinder. Shared tragedy and shared salvation had bonded them. Anna Petrovna brought Manulych treats every day. Sergei Gromov helped Ivan around the house. "You know, Ivan," Sergei said one evening as they watched Manulych playing with the village kids, "maybe it's a good thing this creature came to us. He changed us all." "Maybe it is," Ivan agreed. "Life's gotten more interesting." A month later, scientists from the regional center visited. Katya organized it but warned, no tests, no forced procedures. Just observation, the team leader promised. And a few photos for the scientific archive. Manulych was wary of the scientists but not aggressive, as if sensing they meant no harm. "Phenomenal creature," the zoology professor said in awe. "Probably a natural hybrid. Rare, but possible." "Why is he so large?" Nikita asked. "Could be environmental factors or genetics. Nature is full of mysteries." The scientists stayed for 3 days, took notes, recordings, and most importantly, confirmed that the animal posed no danger to people. On the contrary, the professor said as they left, "He's one of the most socially adapted wild animals I've ever seen. He understands human behavior better than many pets." After they left, life returned to normal. Manulych got used to being a local celebrity but remained Ivan's loyal friend. Katya finished her work and prepared to leave. "Ivan Semyonovich," she said goodbye, "you don't realize what a gift fate gave you." "Oh, I do," the old man smiled. "A faithful friend. I'll protect him. There's no other like him." Nikita also had to leave, his vacation was over, but he promised to visit often. "Take care of yourself, Grandpa. And take care of Manulych." "I will. And don't forget us in the city." "How could I?" Autumn came, and the village grew quiet. Tourists had gone, the media had moved on. Only the residents and their unusual neighbor remained. Every evening, Ivan sat on the bench by his house. Manulych lay beside him. Together, they watched the stars, listened to the taiga, each lost in their thoughts. "We've had a good life, haven't we, friend?" the old man said softly. Manulych purred gently in response. He too enjoyed the calm after the storms. Winter arrived with heavy snow. Manulych saw real Siberian winter for the first time. He joyfully rolled in snowdrifts, caught snowflakes, played snowball fights with Ivan. The sight was so heartwarming even stern Sergei Gromov couldn't help smiling. Like a child, he told his wife. A big, furry child. In spring, tourists returned, but now they were true nature lovers, respectful and quiet. Katya came back too. She had defended her dissertation and received a job offer at a reserve. "Ivan Semyonovich," she said, "I want to propose a partnership." "What kind?" "Our reserve can take Manulych under official protection. Not to take him away, just to protect him here. We'll provide documentation, veterinary care, legal support." The old man thought for a while. It was a tempting offer. Official protection meant no one could harm Manulych. "What are the conditions?" "No special ones. Just live as you always have. But now the law will be on your side." "Then I agree." It took months to prepare the documents, but by summer it was done. Manulych became the first animal in Russia to be officially protected right in his natural home. "You're a real celebrity now," Ivan laughed, showing him the papers. Manulych sniffed the documents, then lost interest. he was more intrigued by a butterfly fluttering on the porch. As Ivan aged, their bond only deepened. Manulych sensed his master's frailty, stayed close, helped however he could. "He knows I'm not the same anymore," Ivan told Nikita, who now visited every weekend. "Take care of me, Grandpa." "What'll happen to Manulych when?" "Don't think about it, grandson. Life will show us." But even Manulych seemed to understand these conversations. He'd come, lie beside Ivan, purring softly, as if to say, "I'm with you. Always." 5 years had passed since Ivan found the wounded creature in the forest. The village hadn't changed much, but its people had, kinder, more attentive. Manulych aged too, but remained playful and smart, helping around the house, greeting guests, delighting the children. Ivan Semyonovich still sat on the same bench. Manulych napped beside him. The evening sun bathed their faces in warm light, they looked peaceful and happy. "It turned out to be a good life, my friend," the old man whispered. Manulych opened one eye, looked at him, and closed it again. He agreed. Life had turned out well. And somewhere in the cities, people told a wonderful story of an old man and his extraordinary friend. A story of how, in a remote Siberian village, the bond between man and beast changed everyone. The world is full of mysteries and wonders we can't always explain. But the most important thing is knowing how to recognize and cherish them. Just as Ivan Semyonovich cherished his Manulych. Just as the villagers embraced this unusual creature. The taiga holds many secrets. And the most important one is this: kindness and understanding are stronger than fear and prejudice. True friendship knows no species. And miracles come to those who are ready to see them. The story of Ivan and Manulych became legend. But to them, it was simply life. The simple, quiet life of two friends. Brought together by fate, in the right place, at the right time.